Hanging from a solidly sturdy branch, red, white, and blue paper whistles through wind, singing the sweet tune of satiating desire with every minute's passing. Restless minds wonder what goodies they'll grab at the moment of promise. Tensions rise amidst impatient chatter, despite authoritarian distractions. Oh, looky, what joy, what fun over here! Showcasing shiny toys and games, thinking it's enough to keep the kids from going for what they really want. Operating from belief in proper order to keep to the party's schedule, so they push the candy aside, assuring plenty of time for every bit of broccoli to be devoured. Try as they may, parents can only control their children for so long. Eventually, the kids are bound to beat open that piñata. Take it in, take it in. Turn it a profit. Quick, make it grow. Before they know. Gratification in a flash. Mindsets look past the age of consumption. Fueled by horror. Fueled by greed. Cultivated by cultivated by to build the cookie-cutter perfection we participate in today. The way we treat each other, the way we treat ourselves, the plate we've all been served, most thoughtlessly, carelessly, or unknowingly, eat daily. If you think you know what the ingredients are, check again. Megalomaniacal clouds have continued to circle back to rain upon these crops. The waters from which these seeds have sown have cycled through time, fearfully prone to lose thought and heart in the face of ease. Deaf to the affected, their cries and pleas for those above to hand over the keys to bring this reign of horror to an end, as the ones they serve vilipend their families, livelihoods, and entire existence, whispering, "There's no point in resistance." A plate we've all been served, most thoughtlessly, carelessly, or unknowingly eat daily. You are what you eat, right?
So I know that there's a lot of biblical scripture on how women are property, but which one gets under your skin, angers you, irks you the most? Trying to do some research on evangelical Christianity, fundamentalist Christianity, Christian nationalism, and patriarchal misogyny. Because as an Oklahoman, that stuff is really relevant locally. Bible Belt, am I right? Anyways, let me know down below. As always, I love you. I'm here for you, and we got this.
I've seen a lot of stuff lately about how here in America it's like 1930s, 1940s Germany, and that is true. But what's being glanced over and skipped over quite frequently in this conversation is that they were inspired by us. They were highly inspired by the way colonials mistreated Native Americans. Do your research. They took a lot of notes, and it is riddled through that horrific history of theirs and ours. Fascism has been here. It is here. Ask disabled people, ask queer people, ask gender non-conforming people, ask people of color. The melting pot has been boiling since it was put on the stove. The house is already burning down. What are you going to do? Are you going to sit there crying, panicking, and let the fire consume you? No. You're going to get up off your ass. You're going to salvage what you can safely. You're going to call the firefighters, and you'll rebuild from there. Channel your fear, channel your panic, channel your anger into action. You are needed, so don't panic. Just get to work.
We are not regressing. These problems have been here since the birth of our country. The Nazis were inspired by us. They were inspired by our treatment towards Native Americans. This is a full circle moment. Healing is not linear, and we are in this moment of a collective dark night of the soul, where our collective shadows, which have been unaddressed and unhealed since the birth of our country, are now all boiling up and demanding to be healed.
The dark night of the soul is a term that goes back a long time. It is a term to describe what one could call a collapse of a perceived meaning in life, an eruption into your life of a deep sense of meaninglessness. Nothing makes sense anymore. There's no purpose to anything. Really, what has collapsed then is the whole conceptual framework for your life, the meaning that your mind had given it. So that results in a dark place. But people have gone into that, and then there's the possibility that you emerge out of that into a transformed state of consciousness. Life has meaning again, but there's no longer a conceptual meaning that you can necessarily explain. Quite often, it's from there that people awaken out of their conceptual sense of reality, which is collapsed. The concept of which we are discussing in this case, collectively speaking, is the concept of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness being a basic human right here in our country. Because let's be honest here, there's always been a bit of stipulations and exceptions to that statement. It's just now, in case it wasn't obvious to you before, it should very well be. Healing is not linear. All of this stuff is coming up because it is demanding to be healed. So let me ask you, how are you holding space right now for this collective dark night of the soul on an individual as well as a communal level? Let's talk about strategies for that so that we can help each other out. As always, I love you. I'm here for you, and we got this. PTSD meltdowns are not pretty. Neurodivergent meltdowns are not pretty. Both of which are not easy to deal with and can get very, very ugly. It is a physiological state of distress. It is the entire nervous system screaming over and over again, emergency! So if the person that you're interacting with, if the person that you care for is clearly in this physiological state of distress, I understand that they might and probably are being an asshole. But if you can't hold space for that with love, with the understanding that they are in a physiological state of distress and emergency, then walk away and quit shaming and victim blaming. The ability to regulate your nervous system is actually a privilege. And that statement can be interpreted in so many different ways, from what it means to be a disabled American to a disabled person in the global West to what it means to not just be a disabled person, but also just any person, particularly places under severe, intense stress. It is a privilege to be able to regulate your nervous system. And we need to start learning how to hold space for conflict and uncomfortability. Once again, check your internalized ableism. Okay? America has a grief problem. Specifically, we have a problem processing grief, and we're absolutely seeing this reflected on a collective scale from multiple different kinds of people, from conservatives who overreact to the woke mind virus, to liberals who call themselves the left, but they're actually centrists, and really their major and only concern is to uphold the system for their own benefit, to left-leaning people who feel hopeless, like they are unable to make a difference, so why even bother? And you know, the common link between all of those is this collective shadow of the need to be exceptional. The whole pull yourself up by your bootstraps and achieve the American dream thing. That exceptionality. And that exceptionality, furthermore, leads to this societal culture of there being a time and place for conflict, a time and place for stress, a time and place for healing trauma, because that exceptionality and the achievement of that exceptionality in the workplace and at home comes first. Portland author, artist, and activist Paul Leffy asks, why don't we see our collective madness? And answers, the major obstacle blocking people from seeing the collective psychosis that has afflicted our species is our unwillingness to experience the pain, shame, guilt, mortification, and trauma of realizing the madness in which we ourselves have been complicit. Most people simply choose to distract themselves and avoid dealing with this most uncomfortable realization, choosing to instead stay asleep, which of course just feeds into the collective madness. Until we recognize our part in the collective madness, we have fallen prey to it and are literally supporting it by our unawareness of it. And furthermore, I would say it's not just the unawareness of it, it's the unwillingness to acknowledge it, the inability to acknowledge it, and hold accountability for those actions of our ancestors as white people. When you don't learn, when you don't nurture the education of your emotional intelligence, you don't have the tools, the resources, the knowledge to handle conflict, to handle stress, to handle healing, because healing is not pretty. And as a trauma survivor, I know that you can bottle things up as long as you want, but that bottle is gonna explode sometime. It is never too late to start growing your intelligence. It is never too late to keep learning, which includes your emotional intelligence. So if you're not reparenting yourself right now and learning how to better handle conflict, trauma, stress, and hardship, you need to be. Showing up and taking action right now requires you to be grounded enough to keep up consistently. And in order for you to keep up consistently, you need to be able to handle the storm that is coming. Just, I guess, a friendly reminder that activist and organizational work includes internal work on yourself, decolonizing your mind, deprogramming yourself from those patriarchal values and expectations, and reprogramming your mind from a more collectivist perspective. Let me know your thoughts down below. Love you. Here for you. We got this.
In order to see this out right now, and there's a literacy crisis right now. 56, I think it was 56% of American adults can't read higher than a 6th grade level. Our minds are literally so fogged and clouded with imperialistic bullshit, consciously and subconsciously. And for one reason or another, most people either can't or aren't allowing themselves to seek out that darkness, the darkness of what we're going through right now. But if we don't allow ourselves to seek out that darkness, we're not going to see and find and discover the stars that are going to guide us through this dark night. Love you. Here for you. We got this.
If you have any privilege at all and you feel in your gut that you need to be doing something about what is happening in the world right now, but you're getting caught up in stress and fear and anxiety and overthinking all the reasons why you shouldn't or maybe can't take action right now, I understand how overwhelming it is to be alive right now, just to be existing in such a time as now with everything that is happening. You need to step out of analysis paralysis and start taking action. We could spend days talking about all the reasons why it is risky and difficult to take action right now, but nobody is going to save us. We have to save us, and that starts with us taking at least 5 minutes out of our day to fight for our rights, our basic human rights. There are plenty of ways to take action that, again, take no more than 5 minutes out of your day, don't involve protesting, and don't take a penny out of your pocket. No, you cannot do it all. But yes, you can do something. Anything. Your experiential knowledge has far more value than what you give it credit. If you have any privilege at all and you're not taking action to change what is happening right now, there are no excuses. Just start taking action. Start somewhere. Find a local group. Start somewhere. Do something, okay? Please. So early yesterday morning, I was just scrolling on Facebook and I did see somebody talking about, and I did see a couple different people talking about their neighbors doing fireworks for the Thunderwind. And I sort of giggled it off. I said, whatever. And then I saw the city was doing a whole ass parade. And now one of my neighbors is doing fireworks, I assume, for the thunder. And you know, I'm not the first person or the last person to share this sentiment. I'm trying so hard not to be a killjoy, but god damn, can we please take some of this fire and put it into actually caring about our basic human rights? Oklahoma ranks in the bottom 10 for pretty much every statistic I have ever looked up for, like, our country. Education, healthcare, women's rights, queer rights, trans rights, indigenous sovereignty, disabled rights. There's so many things that I can mention for all those different categories about how our human rights are legitimately being threatened. And here's the other thing. I understand a lot of people showed up for the No Kings protest. And I'm also, again, I'm not the first person or last person to say this. I appreciate the energy, but the problem isn't just Trump, you know? Like, in order for there to be this quote-unquote king, he has a whole regime, he has a whole castle, right? And that castle has been here before him. It's been here before Trump. Trump is not the only problem. All of the administrations before this have contributed to what is going on with everything right now. We gotta start thinking bigger, guys. Please. Please. Protesting is only the beginning of the work that needs to be done. If we cannot just come together and unite, but stop everything for this celebration, then we should be able to collectively do more political education, political organization, and mutual aid work. And I understand all of those things are more laborious, but I will say, as a disabled girly, I know that there are plenty of ways to do all of that work without having to leave your bed and not taking longer than 5 minutes a day. The power of technology and time management. So is it really that much more laborious than going to a parade? And also, there should be just as much radical joy and hope in political activist and organization and mutual aid spaces as there is at a ballgame and a celebration of a win, if not more, because that's how we're going to get through all of this shit. That's how we're going to save ourselves. No one else is going to save us but us. Us doing that work is how we're going to build a better world. No, we've never been a free country, because we're not free till we're all free. But we can work together to make that vision happen. And it starts with us doing the real work. Ramble over, let me know your thoughts.
Mercury, the planet of communication, intellect, and travel, is moving into the fiery fixed sign of Leo this week and will be opposing Pluto in Aquarius. So, my love, if you are not doing your shadow work, then you better get to it because your ego will probably be checked this week. Luckily for us, I went ahead and started putting together some shadow work prompts for Mercury this past weekend, and I'm going to go ahead and add some bonus ones while we're at it.
Pause to read.
I hope these help you stay grounded in your authenticity and truth this week. Don't be afraid to shine as your most authentic self because you are beautiful. Okay? Love you. Here for you. You got this. Authoritarian, the mindset of what they have taught us to believe and what we have come to believe because of what we have been taught to believe. You know what I mean? We have to really use our imagination. And I know how hard that can be when all you see is darkness and despair. So if you're having a hard time having radical hope, holding radical hope, using your imagination, first things first, start taking time to process the grief that you may be avoiding or not taking time to process. The body remembers. There is so much scientific evidence to show just how deeply the body remembers. Processing grief is not pretty. It's ugly. It's messy. But if you're not allowing your body to express that, then it is going to bubble up internally and then cloud you, right? And then thus you really can't imagine or hold space for radical hope. So do your best to feel your emotions in your body and not get caught up in the spiral of thoughts. Check in with your body as soon as those thoughts come into your head. Where am I feeling this right now physically? Is my chest tight? Is my heart racing? Is my blood pressure rising? Do I feel my blood flowing in my veins? Am I hyperventilating? Am I getting tense in my muscles? Feel into your body in that moment. And then as you're feeling into your body in that moment, feel into what your body needs to do to express that emotion, right? Do you need to cry it out? Do you need to scream it out? Whatever you got to do. Allow your body to process those emotions. I know how hard it is. You got to allow yourself to process that grief. Second piece of advice is to start spending more time with your inner child. Don't pressure yourself in any way in these moments. Don't judge what it looks like, right? Just take 5 minutes at least, right, out of your day to spend time with your inner child. Do something that you liked to do as a kid. Maybe you liked drawing. Maybe you liked coloring. Maybe you liked playing with action figures or dolls. Maybe there's a movie that you really loved as a kid that you haven't watched in years, or maybe there's an album that you really enjoyed as a kid, you know? Do something to really bring back your inner child, bring back that sense of joy, that sense of curiosity for the world and experiencing life. Third piece of advice is to just simply start asking yourself what if in a good way instead of in a bad way. Try to shift the narrative and see how it feels. And when you first start doing that, it's probably not going to feel realistic, but that's okay. The point of this is not to prove the realism of the possibilities. The point of this is to simply acknowledge the possibilities, period. Just to acknowledge them, get to know them. And the more you get familiar with getting to know the possibilities and really seeing all the possibilities, the more you will be able to see them in your external world. Let me know your thoughts on all of this, and also let me know about any other ways you're trying to cultivate radical hope. Let's talk about it. Let's help each other out in the comment section down below. Love you. Here for you. We got this.
Winds in the east, mist coming in. Like something is brewing, about to begin. Can't put me finger on what lies in store. But I feel what's to happen. All happened before.
Nobody's talking about extermination.
No one ever talks about it. They just do it. And you go on with your lives, ignoring the signs all around you. And then one day, when the air is still and the night has fallen, they come for you.
Excuse me.
It's only then you realize what you're talking about organizing and committees. The extermination has already begun. Make no mistake, my brothers. They will draw first blood. They will force their cure upon us. The only question is, will you join my brotherhood and fight? Or wait for the inevitable genocide?
And if there ever is gonna be healing, there has to be remembering and then grieving, so that there then can be forgiving. There has to be knowledge and understanding. All the lonely people, where do they all come from?
Venus, the planet of love, has just moved into Gemini, the mutable air sign of curiosity, intellectualism, and adaptability. She has made this move alongside Uranus, the planet of breakthroughs, innovation, and revolution. Uranus in Gemini has a lengthy, detailed history of collective rebellion for better and worse, including the beginning of the Cold War, World War II, the Civil War, and the American Revolution. The increasingly escalating geopolitical tensions we are all struggling to push through are birthing us into a new way of being, one that is more sustainable, one that is more equitable, one that is rooted in and grown from our hearts, a higher way of being rooted in pure, true, genuine, high vibrational love. As James Baldwin said, love is not a popular movement, and no one's ever wanted really to be free. The world is held together. Really, it is held together by the love and the passion of very few people. In a hopeless society fueled by despair, it is truly a revolutionary act to walk, talk, act, and move with love. However, in the same token, that is not an easy feat by any means. If you're having a hard time holding space for radical hope, I've put together 9 shadow work prompts that reflect on the themes which Venus rules over. I hope these help you connect back to the feelings of joy, appreciation of beauty, love, pleasure, passion, and comfort, the emotions you need to be capable of imagining and furthermore creating a better world. 1. Where have you been taught that love is frivolous or secondary to productivity? What is one concrete way you can prioritize love for yourself, others, or your passions this week, even or especially when systems demand your exhaustion, productivity, or self-abandonment? How will this act disrupt the status quo of your life? 2. What kinds of love and or relationship arrangements have you been conditioned to value less? How can you reclaim desire and pleasure outside of societal expectations? 3. Where have you sacrificed your truth to avoid conflict? How can you honor both your need for peace and your right to speak your mind? 4. How have you been taught to disconnect from your body's wisdom? What can you do to reclaim pleasure, touch, and rest as sacred? 5. In what ways do you resist being cherished or supported? What old wounds, past pain, trauma, or beliefs make it hard to accept love freely? 6. What toxic narratives about earning love through labor, beauty, or sacrifice do you carry? How can you dismantle them? 7. What passions have you abandoned because they weren't productive? How can you engage with them again, purely for joy? 8. Where have you denied yourself beauty, tenderness, pleasure out of guilt, or dismissal that those things are for the privileged? How can you reclaim them as necessary for your well-being rather than frivolous? 9. How can you practice love as an action, not just a feeling? You can use these for journaling, meditation, divination, or however you prefer to do your shadow work. Let me know how these work out for you, sending you so much love as you continue to embark on your healing and decolonization journeys. Love and lunar blessings. Straluna.
The moon represents the innermost part of ourselves, our subconscious and intuition. The moon also represents the nurturing mother, the divine feminine, the yin to the sun's yang. The moon's gravitational pull is the driver of the Earth's tides, representing the emotional waters of our collective conscious and unconscious. These waters have been very obviously increasingly intensifying over the last few years and are not halting anytime soon. Full moons represent illumination, completion, manifestation, success, intuition, clarity, power, and fruition. It is the culmination point of what has been brewing and manifesting in your life since the new moon, and is an incredibly powerful time for self-reflection as well as spiritual and magical practices. Here are 8 shadow work prompts to work with the full moon that are inspired by not just all of these themes, but as well as decolonization. You can use these for journaling, meditation, divination, or however you prefer to do your shadow work. Pause to read and save this video for when you need it. Sending you so much love into lunar light as you continue on with your healing and decolonization journeys. As always, love you, here for you. We got this.
You ain't standing on business when it comes to your beliefs. They're not beliefs, they're aspirations. You know, I heard someone say online sometime, I can't remember who, so if it was you, tag yourself, or if you know who it was, tag them. But I heard someone say online one time that most people in Western culture, what they think of as a good person is actually just a harmless person. And I think about that statement, and I try to think about if anybody is actually harmless if they're participating in Western culture and society. Like that quote from The Good Place where Michael talks about the unintentional consequences of your actions. Because the reality is your intentions don't change shit when you've hurt somebody. And there's so many unintentional consequences of our everyday existence, every part of our existence here in Western culture. Are any of us truly harmless? Are any of us truly good, or do we just aspire to be? And I don't say that to shame or fearmonger. I say it to be honest, because healing starts with honesty. It starts with acknowledging what you have to work with. Maybe the better question that we should be asking ourselves is, based on my time, my resources, my knowledge, my energy, am I taking actions to undo the unintentional harm that may and probably will come from my participation, my simple existence within a patriarchal white supremacist society? Let me know your thoughts.
Y'all, we are basically a day away from the peak of the Lionsgate portal, aka when the star Sirius, our sun, and our planet Earth all align to form a gateway. This is a time of enlightenment and ascension which has been celebrated for centuries, going back to ancient Egypt and ancient Greece. Amplifying the energy of this transformation, we have Pluto in retrograde, Saturn in retrograde, Neptune in retrograde, Chiron in retrograde, and Mercury in retrograde. And this portal basically brings us into eclipse season. So honey, if you're not flowing with this energy, if you're not doing the shadow work and checking yourself and surrendering to this transformation already, I'm sure the universe is really ripping you a new one, because honey, we are all shifting right now, personally and collectively. If you'd like to dive deeper into this energy and how this might be manifesting for you, here's a shadow work post I put together, and it has a bunch of shadow work prompts in the end designed to help you dive deeper into this transformative time. And while we're at it, here are some affirmations I put together to really help you rewire your subconscious and again, surrender to this transformation. Last but certainly not least, if you really want to utilize this energy to step into your highest, most abundant timeline, here's a manifestation spell I put together. I hope all of this helps you with the shift that we're currently all experiencing right now, again, personally and collectively. Sending you strength, endless blessings, and good luck as you step into your new timeline. Love you. Here for you. We got this.
Read with me. Having a disability is conventionally regarded as a personal tragedy which the individual must overcome, or as a medical problem to which the individual must become adjusted. In 1976, however, the Union of Physically Impaired Against Segregation in Britain made a significant advance when it pointed out that disability is something imposed on top of our impairments by the way we are unnecessarily isolated and excluded from full participation in society. Among those concerned with disability, it soon became common ground that it is society which disables persons with impairments. This social model of disability necessitates a rethinking of prevalent definitions. The World Health Organization, for instance, defines impairment as the physiological problem, disability as restricted functions or activities resulting from an impairment, and handicap as the disadvantage resulting from the impairment or disability that limits or prevents the fulfillment of a role. This terminology has been criticized by the social model theorists of disability because it relies primarily on medical and uses a biophysiological definition of normality. Further, the environment within which this disadvantage is located is represented as neutral, and any negative consequences of this approach for the person with an impairment are regarded as inevitable or acceptable rather than disabling barriers. Let's just stop right there and talk about that, first of all. I cannot express enough how important it is to emphasize that the environment within which this disadvantage is located is absolutely not neutral. It's not neutral. First of all, as a trauma survivor, I can say my entire childhood, from the moment I could walk, I could talk, I could think, I body armored my way through my entire childhood until I left for college and felt safe enough to maybe breathe. And that went down all the way into my bones and my joints. I have fibromyalgia, I have chronic pain, I have chronic fatigue. I'm almost 30 and my hips are so tight that I'm learning how to walk so that I don't further disable myself. I was terrified of my father. I body armored my way through my entire childhood and I'm paying the price. And that's just me. I think about the fact that he was an alcoholic and the fact that substance abuse runs in my family. And the fact that goes back to pain from, that I would guess goes back to PTSD from World War II, even further back. And furthermore, as an adult, again, the environment with which this disadvantage is located, again, is not neutral. Accommodations are so hard to get, and you literally have to prove, are you suffering enough to get the resources that you need? And in that process, you're not going to get the help that you need until you prove it. You have to prove so detailingly that you are suffering enough to get the help that you say that you need. And until you get that, you're on your own, unless you have really good family and are privileged enough to get by. So again, you're disabled at every corner, trying to get the help that you need. It's further disabling. Do you get what I mean? Like, how am I supposed to thrive as a person in society when the resources, the help, the medical support that I need to thrive, the accommodations that I need to thrive, are too difficult to receive? And the fact that more and more across our country, healthcare is being ripped apart. Capitalism is oppressive, exploitative, and thus disabling to anybody who isn't a cis white male. The environment within which this disadvantage is located, again, is absolutely, it's not neutral. And the other thing that I want to talk about is how the definition of handicap literally revolves around your ability or inability to fulfill a role. It all revolves around how you can show up to further capitalism, further the money for someone else's pocket. Let's read on. Reconceptualizing disability as an outcome of the political economy, however, also requires acknowledging the limitations of the minority model of disability, which views it as the product of a disabling social and architectural environment. In this view, the fundamental source of the problems encountered by disabled persons is prejudicial and discriminatory attitudes, implying that by erasing mistaken attitudes, society will accept difference and equality will flourish. This approach diverts from the mode of production and the concrete social relations that produce the disabling barriers, exclusion, and inequalities facing disabled persons. This is what I mean when I say that handicap definition about the ability to fulfill a role or your inability to fulfill a role. It is about your inability to meet the expectations of the way you are supposed to show up within labor relations in our system of society. To put a cap on this, one last quote for you. In contrast, we take the view that disability is a socially created category derived from labor relations, a product of the exploitative economic structure of capitalist society, one which creates and then oppresses the so-called disabled body as one of the conditions that allow the capitalist class to accumulate wealth. Just some food for thought. Let me know your thoughts. As always, I love you. I'm here for you. We got this. This last Sunday's eclipse was not just an ordinary eclipse. It was the last eclipse of 2025. Eclipses are already powerful endings and beginnings. This one in particular is supercharged by a grand kite with Saturn, Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, the Sun, and Mercury. Eclipses along the Virgo-Pisces axis bring forth systemic upheaval, societal transformation, and collective recalibration. This past eclipse season has not been any different. This Virgo eclipse is the last eclipse of this Pisces Virgo eclipse season. Next year's eclipse season is on the Leo-Aquarius axis. Leo is a fire sign, Aquarius is an air sign, and Pluto is ingressing into Aquarius and bringing America its Pluto return right now. So there is plenty of oxygen to stoke the dumpster fire of geopolitical tensions that we are experiencing, and that's not going to change anytime soon. This is just the beginning of a completely transformative new era. I've posted an entire breakdown on my blog, Medium, Substack, wherever you prefer, diving deep into the historical patterns of all the current astrological transits in order to get a glimpse of what's in store. Check it out in the Inklay in the IO Bay. I got a download. Spirit's calling me to share this. It has to do with the astrology of the next few months. So here's the thing. We don't just have Mercury retrograde going on right now. We have 4 other retrogrades going on right now. Yeah, we have Jupiter in retrograde, we have Uranus in retrograde, we have Saturn and Neptune also in retrograde. So yeah, now absolutely is the time to rest, recoup, reset, recharge for the next phase, both personally and collectively, obviously. When does this next phase come in, might you ask? Here's the timeline. We have Neptune entering Aries, Uranus coming out of retrograde, Saturn entering Aries, Saturn and Neptune conjoining, eclipse season starting, Mercury retrograde, Jupiter coming out of retrograde, the astrological new year. So if you're sitting around feeling like you know that there are big changes ahead, but you don't know what, but you know they're there and you can feel it in your bones, that might be why. That might be playing a part. And the thing is, we're not supposed to fully know right now. We're just supposed to do the best we can do each day and move forward. Take this opportunity for, like I said, reflection, rest, recuperation, recharging. Because you and I both know the only way out is through. And man, there's a lot of shit we gotta work through. Everything, all of the issues are going to continue peaking higher and higher until we address it all. So don't get overwhelmed. Just take it step by step and get started on whatever you have to do. And know that there are changes ahead, for better and worse. We have a huge ending and beginning as we enter this new phase. So please pay attention to what is coming up, personally and collectively, obviously. Not just right now, but over the next few months. Love you, here for you, we got this. Breathe with me. We are whole sovereign beings, capable of dismantling the oppressor both within and without. This work is necessary because liberation is not merely external, it is also spiritual. Inner liberation is not a solitary journey. The revolution we seek must be collective. None of us are free until all of us are free. History has shown that freedom isn't something to be granted by those who hold power. It's something that must be taken, demanded, and fought for. To seek liberation by appealing to the conscience of the oppressor is to misunderstand the nature of oppression itself. Oppressive systems are designed to maintain control, not to be persuaded by the suffering they cause. True transformation requires that you become the alchemist, the one willing to turn pain into power, loss into wisdom, and wounds into strength. It's work, yes, but it's the kind that changes you and transforms your life. Stay in the spiritual fire, let it cook you. This fire is the pain, the discomfort, the deep unearthing of everything we've buried inside ourselves. It asks us to let go of our illusions, our attachments, the narrative that we have been taught to believe about ourselves, and to allow ourselves to be reborn. When we stay in that fire, we learn that true healing is not about escape or avoidance. It's about courageously facing what rises within us, knowing that the fire is not here to destroy but to reveal. It's here to bring us closer to the truth of who we are, to cook us down to our essence, to make us whole in ways we never imagined. Healing is not about perfection or arriving at some final destination. It's about learning to hold space for all that we are. Take each piece that you uncover and honor it, not for what it should be, but for what it is. It's not about fixing, it's about witnessing. It's about reclaiming your right to take up space, to be seen, and to hold the power that is already yours. Just some reminders of everything going on, Anyways, there's a reflection prompt in here. Let's do it together. Take a moment to reflect on when you first felt the pull towards liberation. Comment something about it down below. Whether it was a desire for inner freedom, justice for others, or a collective vision of a more compassionate world. What did that feel like in your body? How did it stir within you? What did it stir within you? What emotions did it awaken? What realizations did it beckon upon you? And how does it inform your actions on the daily? Let's talk about it. Let me know down below. Love you. Here for you. We got this.